Good morning. Welcome to the Rise and Grind Mastermind call. This call was started on September 8th, 2016. This is a mastermind group. What a mastermind group is a group of like-minded people who come together to accumulate a great fortune. This mastermind concept was formulated by Napoleon Hill because not one person can accumulate a great fortune alone. It always takes people who knows different things. So if one person is going to accumulate a great fortune, they have to have a mastermind group, which are people that they go to get knowledge from, whether it's reading books, whether it's listening to audiobooks, whether it's talking to someone who knows something about marketing that you don't know, or talking to someone who knows something about sales, learning, throwing ideas off each other, having a support team to boost you up. That's basically what a mastermind group is. The motto of this call is start your day with a vision. When we talk about start your day with a vision, we're talking about today, this individual day. Have a vision and a plan for your life for today. We do this call each and every individual morning, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., so that this call can help make us more successful. This is a live call, so there are other people on the call who chime in on the topics as well. So whether these topics are created from personal experience, something that we have done in our lives to make us more successful, or something that we may need to do in our lives to make us more successful. We understand on this call that we believe in the concept of sowing seed. Whatever you put out there, that's what you're going to get. Not all times we can judge people, but what we can judge is judge the fruit that comes from the tree. So you can judge people based on their results, what they produce in the atmosphere. So the topic of today's call is do good, feel good. When we talk about do good, feel good, we're talking about a search for happiness through generosity. So if you're being generous in this life, usually that brings, it makes you feel good, because hopefully you're being generous from an aspect of not just doing something to get something, but doing something because it makes you feel good to do something for someone else. This could be something from feeding someone who is hungry, giving someone money who doesn't have money, from, helping someone in any kind of way you can help them. I know as children, our parents tell us, do something nice for someone else, when we misbehave or something. I know, for example, my mom used to tell me, don't throw that plate of food away because there's kids starving somewhere that would love that food. So it created an idea of generosity in me, because I say, okay, well, it would be great if I could feed those starving children or locate those starving children so we can feed them. So I know early on it's embedded in us generally, that to do something for someone less fortunate on a continuous basis. I was brought up off and on with my great-grandmother in the church. And when we talked about, why are they giving around offering, where is this offering going, it was usually to help someone. There's a benevolent fund mostly at all churches, so that when someone comes up in their time of need, they can't pay a bill, they need help in certain areas, the church is right there to lend a hand to pay that bill, to cover those funeral expenses for people. And it's very important that, there are services provided in the world to help people, because I know that's the reason why America is somewhat on top. Because in America, we're somewhat one of the most generous countries ever. If there's anything going on as far as a tsunami in Asia, we're reaching out a hand to send money and send food and whatever products they need over there in Asia. 9 times out of 10, if there's a hurricane over here or there's a bad storm or a flood, the country of Asia isn't sending money over here to us. But we're so, in a hurry to reach out to someone else. Not because we have to, not because, we do it because it makes us feel good, that generosity that Americans have, because we are the melting pot country. It's not just one race here. This is where people come. We're full of immigrants. Random acts of kindness actually create and sustain your happiness. I think when we say start your day with a vision, it's very important to have a vision for your life, for you to do something good and make yourself feel good. 9 times out of 10, we're going to do something anyway that's going to make us feel good. But how about do something out of generosity that makes someone else feel good so you can feel even better? There's a right way to be generous, and the right way to be generous is to not always be expecting something in return. Sometimes it's just good to do something for a person, see that smile, see that trickle effect, because 9 times out of 10, there's a trickle effect. When you help someone's family out, let's say you help the leader of the family out, which is the man, and the man lets, his wife know that, hey, this is someone helped us out, and the wife says, wow, that was so great of them to do that for our family, and the children find out. And when they get back on their feet in order to lend a hand to someone else, usually that's how it works. It's a trickle effect. Everyone wants to feel good, but random acts of kindness, are actually good. I did it one time. I was listening to this trend going around where people in the drive-thru were actually paying for the next person and the next two cars' food by asking the cashier at the drive-thru whether, how much is the order behind me, how much are the next two orders behind me. Hey, well, okay, well, here's 20, here's 50, whatever it is, I'll pay for it. And, people are blowing the horn and stuff, and I tried it, and it made me feel good because I'm not doing something, expecting something in return because I don't know these people. I'm doing something to see that feeling. I heard about it, and I did it, and it made me feel good, just to do something, and I don't even know the person. Generosity allows us to forget our own self-importance. We are human beings. Sometimes we walk around, like on this pedestal, and we feel like this is what I need, this is what I have to have, this is what I deserve. But we tend to, forget about our own self-importance by helping out other people and realizing that they are just as important as we are. We're no more important than anyone on this earth. So why not help out your own fellow man? I know in the Bible it talks a lot about, love your neighbor as yourself. And that's basically what this call is about today. Do good, feel good. You're going to feel good when you love someone just like you love yourself. When you treat someone just like you treat yourself, you're automatically going to feel good because that's how we're meant to be. We are people, and we have to coexist on this earth as people and love each other as we love ourselves. Now, if you're battling with self-love for yourself, then, of course, there's going to be a struggle for you to go out there and try to be generous. We are not generous all the time. A lot of us struggle with generosity because we feel like versus people haven't been necessarily generous to us but have taken from us a lot. I know I have been in moods and moments where I feel like someone is taking from me all the time and put the blame game on other people and situations that I really allowed myself to be in. But we have to kind of focus in on generosity and different things like that on a daily basis. When we do this calls, we do bits and pieces to help us become more successful. And I just think this is a good topic as far as focusing in on your generosity because it's kind of like sowing seed in the atmosphere. If you know that you're a generous person, every day you're focusing on being a more generous person and doing random acts of kindness to people that you don't know. Sometimes people that you may know, but you're not expecting anything back. You're intentionally, when you sit down for prayer or however you pray and meditate, you're asking God to send someone your way that you can help, encourage, inspire. Those kind of random acts of kindness are going to make you feel good inside, make you feel like you have purpose inside. Is there anyone else on this call who wants to talk about do good, feel good?
Yeah, this is Greg. Hey, this is Greg. This is actually one of the strategies I use especially when I'm feeling kind of stressed or very stressed. And I remember the first time I did it, I had a situation at work that I was kind of obsessing over. I was pretty angry over. And I said, let me try this thing that I've been told works. And I went to a rehabilitation facility. And as soon as I hit the door, there were people who were happy to see me, who were asking me all kinds of questions. I had a meeting I had to facilitate. And I noticed that my stress level went down, and it shifted my focus from what I was going through to what other people were going through and trying to help other people come up with solutions for their problems. And it really kind of gave me a sense of purpose. And I guess that's where that good feeling came from, having a sense of purpose and helping somebody else with whatever they're struggling with. But I'll pass it off to whoever has something to add.
Hey, good morning. This is Randolph, Mapp. It's a pretty cool topic. I know I can kind of really write off what everybody's been saying. I know I remember we were in Dallas, and it was Jack talking about some guy who was like a multi-millionaire, and he was, I mean, he really was living the life, and, you know, he tried out different things because he had this void that he was, you know, really trying to fill. He went from buying more, from big toys to bigger toys to the biggest toys that you can find, until actually he, some kid, a friend of his, a mutual friend of his, somewhere called and said, "Hey man, some kids need some wheelchairs out in I think it was some Asian country, I'm not sure." And so he was like, "Yeah, cool, go ahead, write the check." And he was like, "Nah, man, but they need us to deliver them as well." And so he's like, "Well, okay." So, you know, these guys are, you know, rolling in dough. So, you know, they're dropping off the wheelchair to these kids, you know, who are dismembered or disabled, whatever you want to call them. And, you know, right when he was about to get on the plane, one of the children grabbed him on his leg and was like crying, like, "Please come back." And this dude just had like this aha moment, like this like literally this spiritual awakening, like this is what it's about. It's about giving back, and that feeling that you get when you give back. I know a lot of times, I know myself, I like to think like, you know, well, once I get to this level, I'll be able to give how I like to give. But that's not so true. I didn't have to wait till I, you know, made it, quote unquote, in order to start giving back. You know, I think it was maybe like 2 weeks ago, Greg and I, we fed these groups of brothers that were in treatment. And it was a program that I went to. I've never completed any program successfully, but yet they opened up their doors to allow me to be of service to the guys in the house. And just that feeling of just providing people with just something as small as a meal. You know what I'm saying? Like I kept myself real cool and collected. I mean, but honestly, I was honestly beginning to get emotional because I was like, I could identify, I've been there. I know what it's like not to have anything in your pocket, not to have anything being dependent on somebody for everything, and for someone to come and give to you. And I mean, it was just a feeling that was just awesome. I know also what I've begun to implement is also part of, you know, this recovery process that I'm in. I heard Timeka say something as far as paying for somebody's meal next door. I know when I was doing my thing, I wasn't the most upstanding citizen. And so now, I mean, there are certain places that I go to, you know, if somebody is, you know, getting gas or if they're at Walmart getting something and it's not, you know, out of just, you know, outrageous, you know, I'll go ahead and take care of that as a form of paying it forward, because there's some things that I've done that I just can't say, hey, I did this and I like to correct my wrongs. So there's other ways that like I said, there's a number of ways that you can actually give, you know, back or pay it forward, you know what I'm saying? And the feeling is just the same, you know, because this is not really about being like recognized on a grand scale. It's just knowing in your heart that, you know, you're doing the right thing, you know, and your higher power or God, whoever you like to call, you know, he's seeing what you're doing and that he's pleased and what it is that you are doing. But yeah, I think it's a great call, and I'll throw it back into the group.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and chime back in. We have to realize in life it's a natural response to feel uncomfortable when we see someone suffering. When we see someone suffering, that's human nature. We feel uncomfortable as well. You know, that's the reason why there's so much rubbernecking in traffic here in Atlanta, because we want to see what's going on and see if there's any reason why, realistically, if it was something so bad, is there any kind of way we can help, or is there someone that we care so much about that we think we may see on the side of the road that may be in distress? It's a natural occurrence, so it's natural. I mean, it's human nature to help people and feel good by helping people. In an attempt to protect our egos and our reputations, we naturally don't want to be viewed as insensitive, as heartless, you know, as bad people. So we naturally want to do something to help each other. A lot of times it's not that we are not helping people enough, Sometimes we forget and we don't focus in on it. It's kind of like when we say start your day with a vision. If it's not your vision today to say, hey, how can I be as generous as possible? What are some ways that I can be generous today? What are some ways that I can do good and feel good today? If we're not honing in on that and focusing on that, a lot of times, it just slips our mind. It's just not something that we're focusing on, not something we're thinking about. But if you just think about your regular activity, like me, I'm a coffee drinker. So, we already talked about it. You can buy coffee for the person behind you. Start a conversation with a stranger. There's a lot of people in life where they go through life, go through the motions, and they don't even get conversation. Nobody acknowledges them. Nobody says hey to them. So just starting a conversation with a stranger, inviting a friend out for dinner because they want to talk, and you see that they want to talk. You see that they're going through something in their life. Buying a hot meal for a homeless person instead of giving them money. Sometimes, a lot of times when homeless people get money, restaurant managers and stuff, they don't even want them in the restaurant. So sometimes I remember one time my son gave a homeless woman $5 and she gave the money back to him. She didn't want the money because she wasn't allowed to go in a restaurant and buy anything. A lot of times a hot meal is better than giving them money. Call up an old friend and reconnect. There are people who just need each other through communication. So it's not necessarily giving money. It's just giving your time and attention to something. A lot of times when we send cards like Happy Valentine's Day, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, that handwritten, from the heart, that sentiment, that's more important to people because it shows that, hey, you just didn't go to Dollar Tree or get me a Hallmark card that means nothing, doesn't have your, anything in it. Send me something from the heart because that means a lot to me. I'll keep this and cherish this for the rest of my life. Smile at everyone you encounter. Some people walk around with a frown on their face, and they're frowning at everybody, and everybody they're frowning at, they're frowning back at them. Change people's mood when you have a good attitude, and they're wondering, why is this person so happy? Why are they smiling? Why are they just walking around smiling? It's just random acts of kindness that can make you feel good. Random acts of donating to a charity and not giving your name, not disclosing who the money is from. That's important, So it's things like that we can do in life that we typically would do, but you have to focus in on it to make sure you're doing it every day. I know for the month of March, I wanted to start a 30 days of random acts of kindness. And I think based on this call, since everyone has had something to say about, do good, feel good, I think this will be a great challenge for us to hone in on and just make sure once a day we're intentionally setting out, because we know where attention goes, that's where your energy flows, and that's where you're going to be successful. If you focus in on how you're spending your money, you're going to create a good budget. If you're focusing on how you're treating people, then, you're going to attract more like-minded people to you. So I think if we focus in on 30 days of kindness starting on March 1st, that we'll be able to see our results and see ourselves feeling good, being better people in general. Is there anyone else on this call who wants to talk about do good, feel good?
Yeah, this is Shana. I just wanted to chime in for a quick second, and everything y'all saying is so great. Also, something I wanted to add is a lot of times we focus on, doing good for strangers, like y'all said, homeless people, people in the community, but sometimes we forget about the people that's right there, the closest people to us. And sometimes if you think about it, if sometimes that homeless person's family or the people that were in their life actually thought to care enough to, take care of the people in their circle, then maybe they wouldn't be in that situation. So I just wanted to point out also it's great to just take inventory of the people that are in your life and maybe just open your eyes and your ears and see some of the things that they may need. Sometimes they might just need you to, just random acts of kindness. If you have a good friend and maybe they're struggling with, like say it's a mother having a hard time just keeping everything afloat, come over and say, okay, girl, we'll turn on the music. I'll help you clean the house. I'll help you cook. I'll help you get things together. You got your good friend that maybe, they're having a situation. You just want to be able to be there for them. So I'm just going to make sure I'm available. So if they want to call me, just want to talk, provide some fun in their life, go pick them up and say, hey, dude, let's go out, let's kick it, let's get your mind off of things. Or, even just giving to, family members that, just having a hard time and say, okay, for this next 6 months, I'm going to earmark this money. I usually go out to eat a lot, but I'm going to take, this little $50, $100 that I usually go out to eat. I'm going to sacrifice a little bit, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to sow into their life and give to them so they can, get to a better place. So I just wanted to add that part in there as well, when we're thinking about the Do Good Kindness Challenge, I think it would be great to also, focus on the people that's in your circle as well. If, each person, here in earth or on life, just focus on, the people that are, family, friends, and things like that, I think it would be a much better place. So I just wanted to add that. I'll pass it back to the group.
Okay. I just wanted to say that what Shana said is a good point, because I know that golden rule that a lot of people live by, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. A lot of us, we don't need the same thing. So what Shana said was a huge point. Sometimes you talk to people every day, and we don't necessarily ask them, what do you need? What do you need in life? Some people just need someone to talk to. Some people may need help for a particular bill. Some people may need some kind of help that you can actually provide. And yes, it is a sad situation if you're talking to that person every day and you're not being generous to that person in the way that you may be able to provide a need for them. And when I talk about this challenge starting in March, I don't want anyone to go on Facebook or go on social media and actually say, hey, I paid for this person's food or I helped this person out, because a lot of times that plays on our ego. Not a lot of times, all the time. You have to go shout it out to the world what you did as far as the act of generosity. Sometimes that messes with our ego. But just focus in on doing a random act of kindness every single day. So analyze our motives. Because it's a good way to be generous, and it's a bad way to be generous. If you're going in with the motive to say, hey, me, this is what I did, not this is what God allowed me to do. This is where my energy was focused on, and I'm able to help people in general. And being consistent, because this is something that I need to do on a consistent daily basis, because I was having a conversation with Shana yesterday. We were talking about how good God is in life. And if God is so good to us, that the next best thing for us to do is be as good as we can be to everyone we run into. What do you need? How can I be of assistance? How can I help you? Everything is going, any way that we can do good to someone else, and make ourselves better, make ourselves feel good at the same time. Is there anyone else on this call who wants to talk about the topic before we wrap it up? All right. Well, I want to say thank you for joining this call. Make sure you start the day off by saying your affirmations, and say your affirmations throughout the day. Have some time for meditation, and just think of some ways and share those ways on either social media that people can be of help. When you talk to your friends that you normally talk to, ask them, how can I be of assistance? If I can be of assistance in any kind of way, and just match in on those ways that you can be generous. Because if we do good, it makes us feel good. So thank you so very much for joining this call, and you have a nice day.